Welcome to Making Conversations, a podcast from makers Gemma Millen and Robin Galway.
Today we are making conversations with Martin Cameron and Laura Breen of Cameron and Breen, who are based in Randalstown, County Antrim, Northern Ireland. Hello and welcome back. This episode features two great makers, Martin Cameron and Laura Breen of Cameron and Breen, a collaborative from these two contemporary Irish goldsmiths. We spoke with Laura and Martin in their beautiful studio based in Randalstown and had a fantastic time learning about their story and what it's like working with each other. So I'll not delay this brilliant episode any longer. Here is our conversation with Cameron and Breen.
So we're in Randalstown with the amazing Laura Breen and Martin Cameron, whose brand is Cameron and Breen, and we are discussing their studio setup and their business as two people working together. Tell us a bit about yourselves.
Oh God, right, okay. Well, I think you just very much said it there. Our business is obviously Cameron and Breen. We set up in August
August last year.
Yeah, so we're just currently working on different collections. So obviously we make jewelry for August, and we're also doing like bespoke commissions, but at the minute that's really falls under the two things that our whole business is. Mm-hmm. In a very short kind of nutshell, but
Which is perfect for a podcast.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's what we do.
And so I know you from university.
Mm-hmm.
How did you both come into jewellery, and did you meet first at university? Whenever you were in uni, did you think that you would end up doing, working together, or was this just something that kind of...
No, it definitely wasn't something that we thought we'd do together. I don't actually remember the point at uni that we became even friends.
Well, we went to London on a really awkward holiday together.
Yeah, there was meant to be a group of us going to London.
Everyone dropped out.
Everyone else dropped out apart from me and Martin, so we ended up going together and actually had a brilliant time.
Yeah.
And sort of since then, we've been friends and...
I don't know. I remember whenever we were at uni, everyone always used to talk about we can set up a studio, or we can go into business together. You always have that conversation with your friends and stuff like that, and you were going into business with everyone.
Yeah.
But I kind of never had intended on it, and then after uni, I done a master's for a year, and then I took a year out, and then I got a job as a goldsmith in Newcastle, and then I just started working on my own, and I never, really, I always liked the thought of having somebody else.
Yeah.
But then, I don't know how it even happened.
After I graduated from uni, I took a year away to Australia, and didn't do anything to do with jewellery or anything to do with my degree. I just wanted time to, just see the world, get that out of the way, get that out of my system. I came back for a year, sort of worked part-time and did a bit of jewellery and stuff on the side. Decided it wasn't out of my system, so I went away to New Zealand for a year. But I think it was maybe in the first 6 months I was in New Zealand, I sort of had a feeling. I was like, I really, really know that I want to do jewellery now.
Yeah.
I don't know what made it click in my head, but I just knew that's what I wanted to do. I couldn't think of anything else that I wanted to do, so I messaged Martin. I was like, I know I'm in New Zealand, but would you fancy going into business together or whatever whenever I get back, whenever that is? And you replied straight away. He was like, yeah. I thought it would need some convincing.
Yeah.
But no, it was just and then sort of we just kept in contact. I was out there for another while, and we kind of got the ball rolling whilst I was away, and had things set up that when I came back we were just straight into it.
Yeah, because whenever the last maybe 3 months that Laura was in New Zealand, I had been planning on doing a wedding fair so this was maybe in June, say. So that's then we started talking about it. I was like, well, I'm doing this wedding fair, so if you come back,
it was good.
We need to get stuff made for that, which I probably wouldn't have made stuff for on my own. I was just going to go and have probably a wee book for appointments and my laptop with commissions on it. But I was like, okay, this would be good, to make a collection or whatever. So literally, whilst Laura was in New Zealand, we were like sending designs and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
every day Laura was asking me if we thought of a business name yet. And obviously it ended up being totally original. But it took 3 months to come up with that. And then so whenever she actually came back, it was literally like the first day that she was here. I think we just spent all day literally, I mean, we probably went for lunch for 3 hours and then literally just started making stuff like straight away, and then that was it, because it was just so busy from there, and it just like, you took off, you know, with,
So just to kind of go back a little bit, I'm just kind of interested into how and why you got into jewellery or the applied art department of Ulster University. You know, were you very creative as children? But did you know from like 5 that you were going to be jewellers?
No,
how did that come about?
Well, I initially wanted to do painting at uni. I always was interested in painting and drawing, and I always thought I would go into illustration. And then we done our foundation degree where we were able to do like a 2-week period of each discipline, and I'd done the 2 weeks of painting, or 2-3 weeks of painting, and I just hated it. It just wasn't what I thought it would be, and there was talks and presentations on each discipline at that time, so we could go and find out what they were about, and there was a jewellery and silversmithing one, and I just went to it and thought it sounded interesting, and that was it. Just decided to do it, so...
So I was always into art and crafts since being a kid in primary school and through to secondary school, and it was what I sort of graded well with, so I thought, well, I'll do this for uni. Kind of just fell into going to the University of Ulster. Didn't apply to go anywhere else, so I was just like, well, if I don't get in here, I'll just not go.
Confident.
Yeah.
Worked out well. So
I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew this is what I was good at, so I went with the sort of intention that I might do fashion, might do photography, didn't really know. I did the few weeks of, I think I did painting and photography and something else, and then I went to a lecture, and it was by Cara and Anne, and they were talking about the jewellery and silversmithing course, and I thought, well, this sounds good. So I just kind of
same thing.
I never really kind of overthought anything. It just seemed to just be, I'll go for this. I'll do this, and that was it really.
Your degree show work, there is a lot, even though it feels very strange to say they were so different, but the forms were so similar in them, you know, and even, you know, how you translated those forms, like yours was gold leaf, and it was very sculptural. But your forms were very soft, and then on this quite structured you know, bangles and stuff, they were absolutely beautiful. So there was definitely seemed like there was a common language between both of them, even though you both had your own individual style. I mean, was that something that you acknowledged whenever you were in uni, that it was?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think that. I think
Looking
I always
back,
loved
definitely.
Martin's work. I remember always like sitting, like he would just like throw stuff together and it would look amazing, and I'd be like, oh, I wish I could do that. But like I never really thought, you know, our stuff was that similar. It wasn't until I think we left and we looked back at it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
and it's funny, like even like we both still have our sketchbooks from uni, and we would look back at just things that we never showed anyone.
Yeah.
And like we'd have the same idea.
Yeah.
Like
I think that's why it works so well now, because we would be trying to think of something to make, and I like it literally was like the other week. I think we were trying to think of something, and I said to you, "Oh, I was looking through my old sketchbook, and I came across this idea, but you had done sketches or something the night before, and she had drew the same thing, and she was like." You know, I was like, we should do this, and then I was like, Laura, I drew that like 3 years ago.
Yeah,
but I think that's why it works so well now, because we kind of do have that similar style and
just kind of on the same wavelength.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And then whenever you were saying, so whenever you left, Martin, you went down a more sort of technical route, and
Yeah.
then you went down sort of more inspiration route and traveling and things like that.
Yeah.
Do you think that changed your practice as individuals, or do you think it just fueled what you were already sort of doing?
I think maybe subconsciously it fueled it. It probably dug up stuff that I didn't know was there.
Yeah.
Some of your photographs were beautiful.
Yeah, we're always looking back at old
Yeah.
photos and things as well, looking for inspiration, even just like two colours together, you know.
Yeah, I think mine probably changed that a wee bit because when I done the masters, I was just wanting to do sculptural. It was very decorative, exhibition-y style work.
Yeah.
But then the way the masters went, it was like, or at least I felt anyway, it was like you had to really change your work to make it commercial, and I really struggled with that. Because the stuff that I was coming up with, it was so far away from what I had been doing that it really wasn't good anymore. Because I was like, say I had a really good idea that maybe would have been a cool sculptural piece. I was like, okay, how do I make this commercial? So then it was just ending up kind of a bit weird. So yeah, that kind of was whenever I decided maybe I wanted to make jewelry instead.
Okay.
Because I was obviously into trying to make things commercial and functional for so long that then it does kind of change your thinking. It's like, okay, well, obviously you do need to make money off what you do. So the stuff that I had been doing in undergraduate, you weren't necessarily going to make like a business out of, at least straight away anyway.
Yeah.
And then obviously whenever I went to work in Paint to Earth, Tanya's work was very commission based, like skilled jewelry. So then that again changed my work into like, okay, now I was thinking more about setting stones and working more traditionally as well. So yeah, it's kind of just like a mix of everything now.
So you done your masters at the Ulster University?
Yeah.
Was that straight after you graduated from the BA course? Yeah. Why did you decide to do a masters?
At the time, I always wanted to do a masters. From like first year I wanted to do a masters. I think I just wanted to have that extra year of having done the degree work and work I was really happy with. And then I felt that doing the masters would have really like progressed that. And I suppose it's like when you look at all the people whose work you like and all, and you see that they have master's degree and whatever, it's like that's just the next thing to do. It's the next thing everyone does. But it probably wasn't really the right thing to do at that time.
Okay.
Do you feel going straight in? I mean, I know I would have struggled myself going in straight into masters.
Yeah.
Just because it is so.
It was
mentally tiring to do your degree to then continue on and do a masters from it. Do you think you would have had a different experience if you'd maybe had separation?
Definitely. Yeah. I think we talked a few times being like, I feel like now I could go and do it.
Yeah.
Because we have such a clear idea now of what we want to do, whereas at the time I was like, okay, I want to make this, but didn't necessarily know where to go with it or whatever. So yeah, I think that's definitely the biggest regret I have about that, is not taking a few years out. But still end up here. So
yeah, absolutely. So it still worked out.
Yeah.
So when did you establish that you wanted to have your own studio space? We're in your studio right now in Randalstown. Are you from Randalstown?
Yeah.
So how did?
Are you?
Oh, sorry.
Sorry,
I'm from Fermanagh.
Oh,
yeah. So I literally moved up. I moved to Belfast, just to come to the studio every day.
I mean, I was here already. So.
Yeah, I had literally the day I moved to Belfast, I had never been in Randalstown before. I was just taking Martin's word for it that he had a studio here and it was doing really well. So I was like, okay.
Fake pictures.
I just rocked up with my toolbox. It's like, right.
Yeah.
Moved in.
Great.
That is some serious commitment
Yeah.
though, to move away from home to kind of...
but confidence as
Yeah.
well. And obviously you have a great relationship to
Mhm.
establish a business together, you know, but to then, move your whole life. Really, I mean, Northern Ireland isn't really that big, but,
Yeah.
you know.
It's still commitment.
Yeah, it really is.
Notable.
Yeah, but no, but what, had you got your studio then when you were doing your masters?
No,
No.
I didn't get the studio until after I finished working in Newcastle. So I done the masters, then honestly I can't remember if I took a year out or if I went straight into working in Newcastle, but it wasn't that long of a gap anyway. And then whenever I was working down there, then I decided I had kind of had a few commission-y jobs on whilst I was working down there, and then I just decided I wanted to go full time. So I didn't have a studio for a good few months after leaving, and I was like, really, I ended up getting in here just because I needed somewhere to meet clients, because I was making wedding rings and engagement rings for people, and I didn't have anywhere to take appointments and anything like that because I was working from home. So it was really, I ended up just getting in here because I needed it. You know, I needed the space. It wasn't necessarily because I couldn't do what I was doing.
Yeah.
It was just purely to meet people. So yeah, got it. Like, it wasn't quite 2 years ago, but you know, it was coming up to 2 years. So yeah.
Brilliant. And just kind of looking around then, and you've got a very traditional, what I would assume traditional, the jeweller's bench.
Yeah.
Could you talk through your actual space? I mean, you meet clients here and you bake.
Yeah.
Could you talk us through, just the actual space?
Yes. It's not a big space, but really it was all we needed. Like you said, we meet clients and we make, so I didn't want it to have a shop front or anything like that. I've never really been interested in having that. So we just have my big bench, because it was whenever I was here on my own. I didn't know there was going to be another bench. But I got some funding from the Arts Council not that long before I got the studio. So I got some equipment, like we have the polisher, a few setting tools, and just some metalworking tools. So that definitely helped. Again, I had more equipment, so I needed room to put that in. But yeah, so with my bench, and it's kind of where the metal work, I would say, gets done. And we have like a few bits of homemade equipment as well, so we do like our own photography and stuff. So there's like a patched together light box. I mean, it works, so that's the main thing. But
can you describe? Sorry, because that's quite an interesting concoction. Can you describe the setup?
So it's basically a sheet of white perspex that we bent over the fire in my house because I couldn't get it to bend, for the backdrop of the light box. And then there's two panel lights at each side, so it's like white LED panels. So there's not an actual light bulb, it's the whole like face off it is the light, if that makes any sense. Yeah. And then it's just in the steel box to reflect the light, and then it takes out any of the more yellow roof lights as well. So there's not that mix of lighting. Yeah.
I did think those are two saucers stuck
it looks like that.
I was like, I don't know how I'm going to describe this, but that's...
Well, basically, they're the lights that I used to use whenever my workshop was in my shed at home.
Okay.
And they were hanging from the ceiling, but they used to click off. And then I could put them in the light box.
Brilliant.
So now we have roof lights, so they can stay in there permanently.
There's engineering right there.
At its best, So that's set up. But I mean, I think it works pretty well.
Yeah, no,
it
does.
Yeah.
It has good results.
And you were saying about funding. Are you applying for Sainsbury Arts Council funding, or have you applied for any other funding as a joint business, or is it all individual funding that kind of goes into the business?
We're applying for the SIOP this year.
Brilliant.
I don't think we've applied for anything else recently anyway.
No, not recently.
Yeah, we're applying just basically the ones that are coming up. So like there's the few Arts Council ones, there's like the SIOP, and then we'll probably apply for the Rosemary James one. Yeah, we just kind of keep our eyes open, to be honest.
We have it all on a board.
Yeah.
We
there's only like
rub them off there, when we've applied for them.
Yeah, we would apply for a few like competitions and stuff like that as well. And if there's been a few call outs for galleries and stuff like that are stocking soon, so we applied for those as well. But yeah.
How do you divide up those tasks? Like every day, so I'm going to ask you about your routine as well, but like every day, do you have, Laura, you do wax carving and Martin, you do setting, or is it that you kind of mix and match, or like in terms of applying for things, how does that?
We just kind of, we come in the morning and we just kind of know in our own heads what we need to do.
Yeah.
Because I know there's things that I don't want to do or not as good at as Martin. I would focus more on the wax carving. Martin is
so that's what Laura's bench is more for.
Into the stone setting, so I know like if there's a stone to be set, I'm not going to go near it.
Yeah.
Which wants nothing to do.
I'll say I don't want nothing to do with it. So there's always something to be carved out of wax. And with applications and stuff, we work with them together. Definitely, we
would kind of do those like if we have stuff like today. We were doing one, so Laura was carving a few wax things because we just try to keep that every day now to build that up. So as if one of our stockists needs more stuff, that can just go straight to get cast because all of our work's one-off.
Amazing.
So it's not molded, so it's like just constantly having to carve stuff. And then I had a few stones to make settings for, so like Laura would carve it, and then I would do the wax setting for the stone. But then in the afternoon we had an application form to do, so it was just like we'll do that in the morning, and in the afternoon we just both sat and done the applications.
You guys sound so organised.
Amazing. I'm going to go to a partnership now.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just going to really jump it down, but you say carving. I've seen on your Instagram like these little blues. Is that the wax?
Yes.
Yes. So that's wax.
Is that what you're carving, or are you actually carving metal as well? Can you do that?
So when we first started with like different textures and stuff in metal, I was like using engraver tools and like sort of engraving into metal, and then we discovered wax. Sort of after that, and we just carve into the wax now, and put into it.
And how did you upskill? Because from University of Ulster you're kind of taught sort of quite a range of skills, but wax carving and stone setting aren't ones that are necessarily focused on that intensively. How do you upskill? How do you gauge improve on your skill sets and things like that? Do you do training courses, or is it YouTube, or is it off other makers?
Well, after, or maybe whenever I was still on the masters, I remember I was trying to work out wherever I was trying to come up with stuff to make for the masters. I remember just buying loads of wax because I was always interested in it, and I think probably literally since then, so that was maybe 2015 I done the masters. I just bought a ton of wax and the tools and whatever. I probably literally spent the next 3 years just making whatever, like just figuring out how to do it, like buying soft waxes, hard ones, and never actually got anything cast. Just literally was sitting in the shed, just literally making like maybe 20 things, every day, just figuring out how to do it. Probably half the time didn't work, and then kind of got not that long before Laura came, I had maybe got one thing cast, which turned out really good, and then we just went straight into doing
I think Martin did all the hard work at the start and like figured out what's the best wax to use and sort of did the research behind it, and then I sort of just waltzed in. He was like, okay, so if this is the best wax, this is what we're going to use, and I was like, right, okay, sat down and just started.
And then she just ended up being better at it. So
that's what you wanted, a partnership, isn't it? That's okay.
I was like, I've never done it again.
That was the end of that.
But and the same with stone setting, just done it myself. Definitely like watched YouTube videos.
Instagram's very good as well.
Instagram too,
There's
definitely.
a few good pages on Instagram that have good tips.
Yeah. And just I learned some setting whenever I worked in Newcastle with Tanya. Painted Earth. But just everything else was pretty much just self-taught, and it's still like every day.
Yeah, you are learning every day, because the more you do it, obviously, the more you learn.
Yeah, like at the minute with our pendants and rings and stuff like that, our stone settings have all turned to kind of flush settings, so that's basically where the stone is in the metal as opposed to having claws or anything like that, and it just makes it, for our stuff, because it's more sculptural, it's like a more seamless, it doesn't really affect the design. But that same thing, it's just, I've been doing them for a few months and I've kind of just figured out slowly how to do them better, so definitely still learning, but it's like just by doing it. And same with wax.
It really is incredible, like some of the things you guys make, and I'm like, I graduated with you. I've gone to courses, like I've gone over to Scotland and done courses in like wax carving, wax stone setting, and I just don't have the patience or dedication to sort of sit there and do that. So to hear that you guys are like whipping them out,
I think it helps having someone else
amazing.
there with you, because I know if I was sitting doing it by myself, I'd drive myself mad.
Yeah,
and I'd get bored of myself. So I think having someone else in the room with you, even just to distract you whilst you're just getting on with it, really helps.
Well, like that's why it definitely took me 3 years to figure out how to do wax. Because I really just sat staring at the ceiling half of the day, and then Laura came and it's like, right, we have this to do, this to do. So it's definitely about for motivation.
Yeah, definitely. It's the best form of motivation, because you don't want to let the other person down either.
Yeah.
You need to keep going for their sake as well.
Yeah.
So do you have a preferred metal or even preferred stones that you're predominantly using in your work? Is there one that you favour more, just aesthetically or even practically?
Both of us prefer yellow gold.
Definitely.
We don't use it as often as we would like to use it, just because it is so expensive.
And what is yellow gold? It's
well, if we do yellow gold, it's 9 carat, so it would just be like that step up from silver. But I mean, if we like it for the colour, really, it's definitely for me. That's why I like it. Yeah. And in terms of working with metal, I definitely think it's a nicer metal to work in, because it's kind of like you work in copper, and you really like working in silver, but now it's like I kind of hate silver and I want to work in gold.
Do you find a difference? Like, do you have to adapt your techniques whenever you're working in 9 carat, 18 carat, and have you done 24 carat, or is it?
Well, really,
I'm definitely more nervous about working with.
True. Yeah, that's not a bad thing though. I think you're definitely more careful.
Definitely.
And then for like stone setting, it's a lot easier to set in 18 carat because it's a lot softer. So there's that kind of difference, but nothing crazy. No, it's just a nicer, working in like 18 carats, nicer and cleaner.
Yeah, it's definitely cleaner.
Yeah, than working in like 9 because it has copper and stuff in it.
Yeah.
So it can be annoying to clean up. And in terms of like stones, we've started using a lot of rubies,
brightly
sapphires,
coloured stones.
Yeah, like really nice deep colours.
Yeah.
Creates that nice contrast against the yellow gold as well.
Yeah.
That vibrancy, which is great.
Yeah, and yellow gold always photographs really well for us as well.
Your photographs are amazing. And I know that you guys put in a lot of in terms of your Instagram, which I feel is like the main social media platform to talk about, but it is such a visual.
It's perfect for makers. It's a great medium.
It's brilliant. I mean, like, are all those photographs? I know you sometimes share other people's photographs, but with your traveling, like, is that a very important part of, the business and the inspiration behind?
Yeah, definitely. Like, just as I say, like putting colours together, or like I would have seen an amazing sunset and photographed that, and I was looking back and like, oh, these 2 colours, the pinks and the orange, is like clashing colours, and even just textures, stuff like that. And
Laura's started doing the Instagram more like just kind of like a mood board.
Yeah.
It's
so it's kind of just nice as a personal thing, like because we both kind of get frustrated with Instagram and Facebook and stuff, because it's like you feel like you have to do it for the business and for marketing, and it can take over. Like, we spent entire days just trying to get photographs or editing photographs or whatever. Whereas you just
we sort of stopped taking it so serious now and just thinking, okay, this is just our own space where we can throw in whatever inspiration we want. There's no rules.
And I feel like it makes sense more for other people, because if they see one of our rings or a pendant, it's kind of like there's inspiration pictures there as well. So it's like, okay,
Yeah.
you understand the stuff that we're inspired by.
Yeah.
You know,
They
I think
join
it
together
helps
really
you.
well.
Yeah. It
And
just
like
ties
as
in.
a viewer, I think like each piece that you make, because it is handmade and it's all made specifically for each individual item, there's so much to look at and take in and consider within one photograph. So it's quite nice to have, you know, like that ring that you were doing, the beautiful one with gold and multicolored stones that I think you were saying is possibly an exhibition piece.
Yeah.
And then so that's quite intricate, and then having a really lovely photograph of some sort of foliage or something beside it kind of breaks up the sort of intensity of how incredible your pieces are, so it gives it space to kind of breathe as well, which is really, really lovely. It's brilliant. Yeah,
it is. I mean, I think with Instagram you can get so absorbed from other people's content as well.
Yeah.
And I find that really hard to kind of break away from. But within your own practice, how do you allow yourselves to? Well, I don't even know what I'm asking. But in terms of trends, I mean, it seems to be jewellery tends to pick up trends a lot quicker than most mediums. But are you aware? Do you even really look into those kind of things, or is that something that you're just not interested in at all?
I don't think we really follow any trends,
really.
Because I think if you go after a trend, you're not really inspired by it.
Yeah.
You know, we're just inspired by what we love, and you know.
Well, it's kind of different because we, at least, well, maybe not right now, but we aim to be in kind of like a higher end market. Without that sounded bad, but
no, you definitely achieve it. Like it's bitching and stuff.
Yeah, so maybe like high streety trends wouldn't be the kind of thing that we would look more at. It would be like, say, people are exhibiting in the Goldsmiths fair, which is, you know, a huge jewellery fair in London, or just like big contemporary makers would be what we would be more looking at. So say, for example, just like yellow gold is a huge thing in the Goldsmiths fair, you know, so that's a very noticeable thing. That's like, their work looks amazing and it's yellow gold, so maybe that influenced the fact that we like working in yellow gold so much. Or you would see a lot of big designers starting to use pearls. It's not kind of like the normal everyday trends. It would be more, I don't know if it's like
fields,
or is it like fashion trends? I'm not sure.
I think we just kind of go with what
we want
our
to
own
do.
style, basically.
Well, I think that's what everyone that we like does. It's like everyone has their very
and we don't want to be sort of changing every season either.
No,
we want to have like a signature style and stick by that, with just small sort of changes and progress. Just develop, like, as opposed to doing something completely different this time next year.
So then on an everyday basis, do you both come in at the same time? Do you kind of, like you were saying, that you come in and you kind of know what you need to do? Is that sort of a pre-thought out, okay, for this month we're going to do this, or is it...
We kind of just work day to day.
Yeah.
Really?
Well,
what sort of needs to be done? Because we'll get work in and it won't be needed done until a few months' time. Then we could get work in, it needs to be done in a few weeks' time. So it kind of just...
Or it's like if
prioritise it that way.
If we know that we need to make stuff to stock somewhere, like, you know that's what you have to do for the next week or two. It's just kind of like you go from one thing to another, but it's not really like, it's not written down.
We never actually have a discussion of, right, okay, this, we don't sit down and say, right, this is what we need to do. Really, we kind of just go with it.
So is every piece kind of made almost equally between the two of you? So if one is not waxing, but one is doing waxing and the other one is doing stone setting, it's constantly back and forth to get it finished.
So if it's like a commission piece or like quite a big piece, we'll sit down and design together, and then we'll decide, right, does that need to be wax carved or what? So we'll go that way. But other pieces for like stockists and things like that selling on Etsy, I'll just be like sitting playing and hoping something comes out of it. And
well, no, you would, like, if we were doing pendants, you would carve the main part off out of wax, and then I would do like, you know, if it's something that has leaves on it, that's a different kind of wax. So I do that.
He's
And
better
maybe-
at like
Yeah, well, I maybe join
cutting
it
out
together,
small little leaves and things.
Yeah.
I'm more of a
and then I'll give
hacker.
it back. I'll give it back to Laura, and she'll put like the texture on it.
Yeah, it's kind of like
It's just back
we'll
and
just
forth.
pass it between each other. I'll be like, okay, so what do you think of that? And he'll be like, yeah, and then he'll do a wee bit to it.
Yeah.
And then he'll give it back to me, and I'll be like, oh yeah, that looks good. I'll just do something else, and we'll kind of
Yeah, and it's the same when it gets cast. Then you know Laura will clean it up, and then I'll take it and put the stone in it, and then she'll finish it. And yeah, but it's kind of.
It's funny because like neither of us can do it by
Everything.
ourselves.
Yeah, it's the same for most of our commissions. We do just make by hand.
Yeah.
So from, you know, raw metal materials, but it would be the same thing. It would be like,
Yeah.
you would maybe make the band and I would do the setting and then whatever, you know,
One of
just
us will
pass
clean it
between
up,
us. Yeah.
Just whoever's free, I suppose. Who
Yeah.
isn't doing something else.
Yeah.
You're kind of painting the picture of it being like super dreamy and like knowing you guys a little bit. Like, I kind of imagine that is what it is. But do you find there's any struggles with working as business as two people, or anything that has surprised you that you maybe hadn't considered beforehand?
I mean, without it getting awkward. No, I don't think. I hope not.
No, I think it's
No,
actually
so
surprised me how easy it has been.
Yeah.
Because I thought sort of like almost a year in by now we would have had some sort of disagreement on something, but it's been pretty, like anything that we have sort of thought, oh no, I don't agree with that, we've just like left it, thought about it overnight, and one of us has said, oh yeah, you know, that was not a thing to do or whatever, but we've never had like any big
I feel like though if
really.
it's something that like maybe if one of us makes something or whatever and then the other one doesn't like it, generally we just end up agreeing with each other anyway, because it's like, oh yeah, that's maybe not that good, or
I think because we're both quite particular as well, that we don't want to put work out there that isn't at the best standard. So
Do you think you have a language? You know, is there that visual? Like I personally say it, but do you think that each time you make something, do you ever experiment or push yourself and come up with something that's really weird and quite cool, but doesn't necessarily fit the consistency of what you've done before? Has that happened yet? Or
well, maybe when we start making something, it'll just be a disaster, or we'll be like, oh no, it doesn't look right, or that's too far away from what our style is, and we'll put it away in a box, and then we'll find it like a few months later, and we'll take sort of that idea and we'll have something fresh to add to it, and it will sort of then work.
That's quite sickening. That sounds just amazing. If I mess up, I'm like, oh, back that, and just bin it, I think is the box.
It's quite funny because I have a box, like I never bin my wax. I've like all my mistakes are just sitting in a box of wax, and I'll just be poking through it one day, and I'll pull out something that Martin's made like 2 or 3 years ago, and be like, oh, this is kind of cool.
But I think it's
like
also happened so many times where we've made something, and then because it's kind of like you are sort of learning yourself every day, we'll make it, and then it'll be like, maybe it's okay, but then we'll do something like 2 months later, and it'll be so much better because we figured out how to do it better. So I think from that, you know that if you just leave it, chances are you'll be better at it down the line
I think
anyway.
That's why doing all of our jewellery one of a kind works really well for us as well, because we'll make something
stuck with it,
and we'll think it's lovely, that's brilliant, we'll sell that, and then like a few months later we'll have progressed so much and we'll be like, oh, that wasn't as good as what we're making now. So it's good that we're not stuck with that old design, you know, we're constantly, I think everything we put out, I think we both agree that everything we put out is getting slightly better each time.
So just to explain that, it's that now everything we do that's in the shops is made one-off, so like every single pendant is made from start to finish, but what a lot of people do and what we had started doing was, say, making a collection and then have, because it's wax, you have molds made, so it's like you can, say, get like whatever 10 or 100 of them done, and you could have that forever. But instead of doing that, now we just make each thing on its own, because then it's like there's that natural progression as well, and it's not like you're still selling the work from those molds that you made a year ago along with stuff that's 1,000 times better, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So you're kind of owning the making process, perhaps just a little differently than what else were previously.
Yeah.
How does it work designing for commission pieces with customers? How do you make sure that if a customer's coming to you because they like your aesthetic, that you fulfill that brief? I mean, how much influence does a customer have, or is that just dependent on the customer and what they want? I mean,
yeah, we'll usually get the customer in here and have a good chat with them, see what they really like, you know, metal wise, colour wise, stone wise, and we'll always like stay in contact with them during the design stages. So like if I make something in wax, I'll photograph it and send it to them to make sure they're happy enough with it before it's cast then in metal, and we'll source stones and send photos or even get them in to look at the stones and say, like, it's your choice, sort of, so they're very involved in it, so as much as they want to be. It's
definitely different for every single person though, because there's people obviously who want what they want, and then there'll be people that are more open to
just let you do whatever
it changes, you know, halfway through or whatever.
They sort of leave you to it.
Do you prefer to be just kind of left to it, or do you prefer being told I want this?
It's quite nice to be left to it because you can just do something completely different and something that they would never have thought of, but it's also nice
to know they like it before you finish it.
No, it's nice to have a variety, I think.
And then so how you're obviously on the main street in Randalstown. How do you find your customers? I mean, how did it start off? Was it, you know, through going to these wedding fairs, or is it friends of, you know, word of mouth, or how do you kind of gain those? Because for high end, to kind of go in straight into high end is quite a difficult thing. Like generally, other makers would maybe have come from a certain background to gain that kind of I can't think of the word, but like reach. I don't know.
I don't know. Whenever I started out doing my own work, I don't know, I just went straight in at that. The first few commissions I got were for like wedding rings or engagement rings, so
Was it on Facebook, was it?
Yeah, they were always through Facebook, but I had never made like sort of cheaper silver pendants or earrings, or like I'd never done anything to necessarily get known. It would just came in, and sometimes I would have just made like engagement rings or whatever and posted them on Facebook. And I suppose it's like you start as you mean to go on, do you know what I mean? I always had the opinion that if you start off in making like more fashion jewelry or, you know, the cheaper sort of stuff, then that's where you kind of get stuck.
You want to continue on.
I think we've done the same thing as well. We're now, most of our clients come in through Instagram or Facebook, but it's obviously
word
because
of
of
mouth
what we're
is
posting.
a big thing as well, because we'll have people in and they will have said, oh, you made a ring for my friend's cousin or something, you know, there's some sort of like connection between most of them as well. And then just online as well, like Etsy.
How are you finding Etsy as a platform?
It's okay. It was really strange. Like, I started off, it was really quiet. We didn't get much off Etsy, and then for a few months, everyone was coming off Etsy.
A lot from like London and Scotland and stuff like that.
But now it's kind of like quieted off a bit now as well. It's just I don't know much about Etsy. I really should like read up on it more. But
and then Etsy as a platform, like I would use Etsy myself, and I think the handy thing is that if I have an item that I remake each time, then you're not having to remake the listing. Would you, for Etsy for example, would you have things that you would make multiples of, or would you, you know, you're tinkering about and you're experimenting, you do kind of the Facebook thing that you said about you make an engagement ring and then you put it up And, you know, are you making a new listing every single time?
No, we have. So whenever we done the wedding fair, we made collections of engagement rings and wedding rings for men and women, and those are what's on Etsy. But
Okay.
the things that we've sold on Etsy, we created an item that was basically like a bespoke service. So it wasn't necessarily an item as it was just that service that people could buy into.
Yeah.
So the work that we were getting on Etsy was, say someone was going into one of our wedding rings, like we probably one of the most popular ones, we have ones that are based on gorse, so they're engraved with a design that's based on gorse. But it would be people messaging from Etsy saying, could they get a custom version of that? So they necessarily weren't buying that one that was on Etsy, but they were getting one like that to fit around their engagement ring or something. So
or a different metal or
so it was kind of like everyone was made anyway. It wasn't necessarily that we were selling the one on the site, if that makes sense.
Fantastic.
How different is it then, not meeting your client in terms of sizing, or, you know, is that, how have you worked that bit out, selling online?
It's been okay. We're
Yeah,
just
it
very
has.
thorough.
Yeah, we make
asking.
sure that they know their ring size and
Yeah.
everything like that. But yeah, it's worked so far. So good,
Yeah, we definitely we kind of have a list of questions now that we know that we need to ask before they go ahead, and we make sure that if it is an engagement ring, we get the exact measurements of the stone that they have. Because if it's a curve, we need to be able to match.
Yeah, that's
without tapping the
that's
ring.
the difficult part is
Yeah.
trying to
Incredibly difficult.
fit a wedding band or an eternity band around an engagement ring that we don't have in the studio.
Yeah, you can't really ask them to send it.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's
So we've done that quite a few times, and
I mean,
we've
how
had
do
no
you-
complaints. So
How do you even manage that? You know, especially if it's a curve, because I understand, you know, if it's a square stone, you're like, oh, it's 15 by 15 or something. But for a curve specifically, like the gradient can be so different. Like,
well, we would
how do you
get the
problem
measurements,
solve
like the length and the width, and then what we have been doing was making that in like and cutting that out of like even just paper or something like that. So we actually have the physical, you know, the oval say it is, and we have that size and dimensions, and then we put it on the ring stick and make around that. But obviously there is a difference, so you do have to be aware of the fact that it's not just as simple as, obviously it's a 3-dimensional thing, but we would get pictures of people's engagement rings on as well, so we could tell how high up the stone sits and what kind of setting it's in and how thick the band is.
Geniuses.
It's definitely difficult to work out, but it has worked. So.
it has worked so far.
That's brilliant.
I assume like quite a few people do it, so you know.
Fantastic.
Right. So what's on the horizon then? I mean, do you have any fairs coming up, or any really big commissions that you would like to talk to us about? Or
Well, we have a ring away getting hallmarked at the minute.
This pearl ring,
which is
we've been talking about.
peacock pearl ring. So it's probably the most adventurous sort of ring we've done. Just something for galleries, and
we've applied for
a lot of the
few
stuff.
things.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff we've been making has been specifically for selling. So you have to bear that in mind when you're making it. This we kind of were like, right, we're not even going to think about this has to be sold or anything. We're just going to make something really big and cool that will want.
It's just going to visually, make an impact. But we've entered a few competitions and exhibitions with it already, so we're just kind of waiting on hearing back from that. And then I suppose like for the future of the businessy stuff, we're looking at getting more stockists and hopefully getting some overseas as well, and just working on expanding that, 'cause that's what we want to do. So
So to be a wee bit crude, I would know for ceramics, but whenever you're looking for stockists, are you looking specifically for sale and return or wholesale? How does that work with your type of jewellery? I mean, is that viable? Is that possible, or is that not something that...
Everywhere really seems to be sale or return. Especially like we've looked at a few overseas and they seem to all be sale or return, so you know it's if that's just the way it is, that's fine. So yeah.
Okay. And is it stockists that are exclusively for jewellery, or is it like craft as a whole?
I mean, we're in Painted Earth, the shop I used to work in Newcastle, and it's all kinds of craft, and like our jewellery goes really well down there. And then we're in another place in Bangor, Robinson's, and it's just jewellery. And then the ones that we've looked at overseas have been the same. It's either been a craft shop or a jeweler shop, so it's just like it's just different, I suppose. And you kind of you look at who else they're stocking to make sure that you obviously fit in. As
and
well.
Also for them to look after your work as well, because there is care that needs for display that needs to be considered for that. But these are obviously picking the right stockists. They're all jewelers and they're perfect.
So I just wanted to expand on that then.
Yeah, great.
Right. And I suppose as you are a team, and there are two of you, what would you say each other's strengths are? Well, not as weaknesses.
Okay, well, I'll go first. Laura is the organised one. Definitely the motivated one. I mean, those are two pretty big things.
They're pretty intense.
I feel like you definitely get the stuff done.
Aww, that's really nice.
No, I do it, but
I tell you what to do.
You make me do it.
I think Martin is definitely very like naturally talented. Like he can just sit down and just draw something up quickly, and it just looks like I can picture this 3D. I'm the complete opposite. I am like ridiculous with a pencil or a pen. Like I cannot for the life of me do 2D, 3D drawing. No. So it is just easier for me to sit down and quickly make something and show it to Martin rather than try and explain it through a drawing. But his drawing skills are insane. And just his knowledge of things as well. Like he will like sit for hours at night and like watch YouTube videos and stuff, and he'll come in the next day and he'll know how to do something. I'm not like that. As soon as I get home, I kind of just like to switch off. So you're motivated that way, definitely.
Yeah, but like in terms of physically like applying for things or like making, the fact that now we've decided to start carving all of our waxes and having them ready to go. Like I know I definitely wouldn't do that. No, but I wouldn't, and I think that's probably anyone on their own would find that.
I don't know if that's something,
it's like to have
if that's just because I'm with you or if that's something I would do anyway, but I think probably because you're here too, I think it makes me want to do it.
No, I definitely think like you're very inspirational, and the fact that you are so motivated and you are in the start of the day exactly. You do make and you do have stuff sitting, and you're so prepared and organised in the event of X, Y, and Z. Like that's mad. That's brilliant. Can I rent you guys? Motivate me. Like that's fantastic. And I suppose as a business model, I would assume that that's gonna hold you in really good stead. Right down the line whenever you need.
Me and Martin have both said there's no plan B. This is it. Like, this is what we want to do. We can't. Neither of us can see ourselves doing anything else. Yeah. So we just have to make it work. Yeah.
It's just like learning how to do those things too. Like it's not as if we were doing that from the start. Like we didn't start off having a big collection of waxes ready to go. Like it's a recent thing where we're like, okay, we have figured out that we need to do this. Yeah. And obviously, like I said, it's like having the motivation to actually be like, right, this is what we're going to do from now on. Yeah. And go on that.
I think, as a doer myself, I know whenever I left uni, I was like, oh, okay, oh my god, I have to do something now. And I kind of tried to do far too much, and I didn't do any of them particularly well. Yeah. Is there anything that you've done kind of that maybe hasn't been as considered, or that was maybe a mistake in hindsight, or something you've invested in that you kind of wish that you'd spent your time or energy on something else?
I think when we started out and we were doing the wedding fair, I don't know if this is what you were thinking of.
Yeah, no, it's
like Dad, twinning again.
We banged that stuff out like so fast.
Spent huge amounts of money.
Crazy amount of money.
Making a collection that we probably didn't need to make at the time.
No.
And because it was made in wax as well, we had literally just started. Like, that was my first week of making.
Yeah, we made the entire collection.
We made the entire collection out of wax.
Well, that's intensive.
Which, some of it I look back and say, no, that is good.
Yeah.
But there's other bits, because we got molds made as well, so we spent so much money, we feel like we should be using it, but because we don't really like, not that we don't like it anymore, it's just we have improved since then.
Yeah.
It's like...
And it was such a fast thing anyway, because Laura came back, was it August?
Mm-hmm.
And what was the
When
winter?
there
End
was
of
October.
September?
Wow.
Or was it the start of October?
The start of October, I think.
So, like, literally we had
Wow.
maybe, say, 5 weeks to make everything in wax, get it cast, get it cleaned up.
And get all of our branding and our packaging.
Branding and everything.
I think we just put too much on ourselves.
Yeah.
At the web fair, we didn't need half that stuff.
No.
But now that you're, you can sell on Etsy, and if you were saying you had that sort of deadline or target to kind of meet, and even if it was really quick, like you now have beautiful packaging and branding and stuff.
Yeah.
So maybe, do you feel maybe that took a bit of weight off?
Yeah, I think one of my favourite things is our packaging and our branding. I love it. I don't think I'll ever...
No.
It is timeless as well, like, which is so good that it is.
Also, our friend Olivia McGuiggy designed it, so she done the masters with me, and just shout her out. She done an amazing design on it, so we were so happy with it.
Yeah.
But I think now it's not a bad thing either, because now if we are doing something and maybe we do kind of rush it, it's like that's always in my head. It's like,
you're always thinking of the bad experience. Don't just throw something out for the sake of it, just because you've got a deadline. Yeah,
it's not, because you know that you're going to look back at it and be like, that was so rushed or whatever. So it's not a bad thing to have, in your head.
And we made that mistake pretty early on, so it was good to get that out of the way.
No, I think it seems like it was a really helpful mistake as well, because as you say, you can, look back on it and learn from it, but again, you still have these items which you have made, you have paid for, but you can still sell them themselves, and I'm sure that I haven't seen them up close, but I'm sure that they are beautiful. All the work's gorgeous, so it's not going to be much different from that, even if it's highly stressed or anything like that. But do you have any inspiration for people who are maybe considering either starting a jewellery business or considering collaborating with other people in a more permanent, that it's not just a one-off collaboration? Do you have any tips or advice?
I think it's definitely something that probably a lot more people should do. I feel like when there's so many jewelers, and even at uni, you would have heard people talking about it, and everyone's just in their own wee bubble, and it's weird that everyone just does that. So I think definitely it's something that people should consider, but at the same time,
I don't think it would work for everyone.
No,
I think because me and Martin are so similar, we got similar personalities as well, similar sense of humour,
but even if it wasn't in terms of having a business and just having a shared studio, that's such a massive thing.
Just having someone else there, and even if they're working on something separate, even something completely different, like a different media or whatever, it would be good
it's so
to
helpful to have other people to bounce ideas off.
Just get a bit of inspiration off them. Definitely.
Fantastic.
Brilliant. Well, we usually like to ask towards the end of our little episode some quick conversation questions that are totally random. So you said that you often listen to music in the studio. What type of music are you into? What was the last thing you listened to?
Really weird.
Oh, it's not weird. I think in the background of all of our Instagram videos is Ben Howard playing.
Yeah, literally.
So it's always some sort of chilled music going.
Yeah.
I think it helps us.
The last album I bought was Aurora, who we've started listening to.
Yeah.
It's possibly a bit depressing, but she's really weird.
I don't know. I don't think it's weird.
Genre
it's just
you would say it is.
You can.
She's from where, Norway or something?
Yeah,
so it's
Scandinavian
cool
style
and
music. But it's really, I love it.
And I would be very the kind of person that if I listen to a certain type of music, it kind of influences what I draw or make or whatever. So I like
she's very naturey. And what did she sing about? Like,
Oh, I have no idea.
Is it in English? Like, if you say
Oh,
no,
yes,
it's in
all
English.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just not. We just like
she sings about
something
like the
that's nice to
oceans
listen
and
to.
the
Yeah.
forests and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
And when
Yeah.
you
Just
know,
a
you
pleasant.
It's just
thing
like a
to
nice
have on.
sound in the
Yeah.
background more than
Yeah.
anything else.
Yeah.
If you have to do wax carving or stone setting or hammering, would you change the music up to kind of get you in the rhythm for it? Like, would it be like ultra rave for you to get the hammer going or something?
No,
Not
that's a
really.
good idea.
Yeah.
We would
Knock
like that
it out.
Instagram video.
Yeah.
I need to try that out. That would be great.
Well, I mean, every Instagram video you assume that Laura is doing that anyway because she's
Okay.
so loud.
Martin doesn't tell me that he's in the middle of video, and I'll just be like
Smashing
having a
things
conversation with myself in the background or like chatting away, smashing things.
Yeah.
I'll definitely keep an ear out for that.
Yeah. You have such a great dynamic. I would like there to be like a Big Brother kind of setup for you
Oh,
to
no.
live stream
Yeah.
your studio experience
I would
because
totally watch
I
that.
think-
I
I think that would be amazing. Yeah.
Spending 9 hours of us eating lunch.
That's okay. It's realism.
it's real life making.
Oh gosh. Okay. So what about? Are you into movies at all? What was the last film you have watched?
I don't watch any films.
The last movie I watched was actually Toy Story 4.
Okay.
Okay, how'd you find it?
I thought it was really good. Yeah.
Did you go alone? Or did you have?
No,
a child
I
with-
went with my boyfriend. It was his idea to go, so.
Ah. Okay.
I think it's always like my partner and I love to go to certain kids movies. Like I think one of the first movies we went to see was like Penguins in Madagascar or something to do with like those penguins or Paddington Bear. But it's really weird going into kids films without a child. You're like, oh god, don't make eye contact. Maybe that's going to make it worse. I don't know. Then you overthink the whole situation. You just sit there and watch the movie in shame. Yeah. What else? Is there any kind of like where, in terms of culture, like where do you kind of find inspiration? Obviously, like your work is very nature based, but do you like theatre? Do you like going on those cycle tours? Do you know, like, where do you kind of?
Well, I think that is the thing though. It's like if somebody asks you what you're inspired by, you kind of have to say like nature or whatever because the stuff is our work's like floral or whatever. But
Yeah.
realistically, like I said, you're inspired by music or just general movies or somewhere you've been
Yeah.
or conversations. Like it's not, it's just like your influence. But because this is like such a 24/7 thing,
Yeah.
like you live.
Mm.
If it's art, something you do, it's like you live it. So it's like everything you're just sort of inspired by. Like Laura likes to travel and like hike and stuff like that. So it's like experiences and
Walking the dogs.
Yeah, the dogs
Yeah,
feature
yeah.
quite frequently, which I love.
Yeah.
But it's not something like we don't look at a plant.
No.
Like, oh, this beautiful plant. I'm
Yeah.
going to make it in
yeah, I
gold.
think that doesn't work.
It doesn't work like that. It's just.
And the
it's
jeweler's
those-
big brother, it's just
like,
you guys
yeah.
staring at like this pot of ivy for like 2.5 hours while eating a yogurt.
Well, that actually is far
Not
off.
far off.
Nailed it.
I think it's just like a subconscious thing that
Yeah.
it's the inspiration is there from like a memory or something, but
Yeah.
So you do like to travel. Where has been your favourite place to go?
I always get asked this question and I never know the answer. Because everywhere I know without sounding
So hard
too.
for you.
I know. I think everywhere I've been
So it's not the
has
studio, is it?
amazing.
Then?
No.
Hey, what's the weirdest thing you've ever seen?
Oh god. Probably something in Japan.
Oh,
There was
really?
A lot of weirdness, yeah. My favourite thing though in Japan was the toilets because they sang to you and blue water at different places. They had like jets.
Alright, keeping it clean.
Literally, yeah. It was an experience, yeah.
Did you know that was happening? Like,
Oh yeah, I was pressing the buttons to make it do it.
okay. Is that going to be the latest, our council
Yeah, that's what's behind that
application?
Yeah. So yeah, that
That is the weirdest thing that's That's not your favourite thing.
Yeah, that was the weirdest, probably.
Although sounds like it may have been our favourite thing.
But
as well.
also,
Like, I think
yeah,
it's not my
I
favourite
enjoyed
thing.
So yeah, if you're going to Japan, definitely try out the toilets.
Yeah.
Will
yeah.
do. Any
Like
particular
Fiji,
toilet, or like, you know?
No,
not
it's
like,
all public toilets.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
spoilt. That's
Very, very
great.
good. But I think probably New Zealand is the most visually landscapey inspiration.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Isn't it? I've never
Gorgeous.
been, but I've heard that it's a bit similar to here, but not.
I would say it's like here but on steroids.
Mm.
So everything is just extremely, like the mountains are extremely rugged and, you know, a lot taller and yeah, it's absolutely gorgeous. Mm-hmm.
Great. And what's the last piece of locally made craft you've bought?
Yeah, I still can't think. It's either I buy so many mugs, and I've
Yeah,
bought
you've got
so
a
many
mug
out
obsession.
of. I've bought so much out of Paint Earth, obviously. I worked there, but.
Did you? I don't think you've bought that.
Good
I
time,
think maybe
yeah.
Adam
It's
Free
beautiful.
mug,
Okay.
or like.
You
I
buy a
have
lot of
so
chopping
ma-
boards.
I do buy so many chopping boards. I don't know who makes them though.
What shape are they? I might be able to help you.
Like cheese board things, but it's like a slice of wood. You know, it has like the bark on the side of it. No.
The live edge, is it?
Yeah, the last one actually was out of the Glenarm Castle shop.
Very nice.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's like I've bought so many things. Yeah, and the Duffy bookbinders. I went through so many of them. The sketchbooks. Red one, yeah, so many of them.
Very nice. What about yourself, Laura? Or is Martin the craft buyer in this?
I think
yeah.
Martin's probably the craft buyer, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't think of the last thing I bought.
Okay.
That's fine. Yeah. Okay, so
Rings.
Yeah, literally. Something we've made.
Well, I was noticing you're wearing a really beautiful ring.
Yes.
yeah,
That's my...
That's
this
gorgeous.
is a piece you've made.
Mm-hmm.
And what colour? They're like orange stones. Oh, there's red
So
as
it's
well.
9 carat yellow gold, and it has rubies and citrines, garnet. Is there a sapphire in there somewhere? Possibly.
Who knows?
That is beautiful.
That's gorgeous.
I just went a bit mad. I couldn't decide on a stone, so I just
All of
them
them.
all.
Nice.
That's the best way. Yeah, that's gorgeous.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for joining.
This has been incredible.
Thank you
Really,
for coming.
honestly.
Thank you.
No,
Bring
yeah.
us biscuits.
Yes. And so if people want to find more information about you or find your work, where would they go about doing that? How can they get in touch? Where can they find you?
So our website is just CameronBreen.com. Our Instagram's Cameron Breen.
Yeah,
Facebook is Cameron Breen. So
Yeah,
we're not trying
Cameron
to
with a C.
Cameron with a C.
Breen, Breen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yeah, all the information's on there. Just send us an email, send us a wee message over Instagram, whatever is easier. Yeah.
Brilliant.
We're always on it. So
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
Wasn't that a brilliant episode? Thank you so much to Martin and Laura for taking the time to talk to both Robin and I in their beautiful studio and discuss their business setup. It was such a pleasure to hear them speaking so openly about working together too. Coming up next week is episode 4 out of 5 from this first series, and our guest is the incredible Nicola Gates of Alanua, a designer and maker who specialises in woven textiles. We can't wait to share Nicola's fantastic episode, so join us here next Thursday. Bye!